Nathan Harris could not believe his luck. 6 months ago, he was just a language expert at the Space Research Center. Now he stood on the deck of Earth's biggest spaceship, heading to meet aliens for the first time in human history. "Remember your training, Harris?" said Captain Olivia Reeves. She was tall and serious, with short black hair and a uniform with many medals. "These void-born aliens have been watching us for hundreds of years. Don't mess this up." Nathan nodded, but his hands were shaking. He was good with alien languages, not with people. That's why they picked him for this job. He could speak the clicking, humming language of the void-born after studying the signals they sent to Earth. "We're docking now," announced the pilot's voice over the speakers. Through the big window, Nathan saw the alien ship for the first time up close. It was huge, at least 10 times bigger than their own ship. It looked like a giant crystal that glowed with blue and purple light. Parts of it seemed to move and change, as if the ship itself was alive. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Maya Williams, who stood next to Nathan. She studied alien biology and was just as excited as he was. The human ship connected to the alien one with a soft bump. The door opened slowly, showing a long tunnel made of the same crystal-like material as the ship. "You first, Harris," said Captain Reeves, pushing him forward gently. "You're our speaker." Nathan walked through the tunnel. The walls glowed softly, changing colors as he passed. He felt like he was walking through a living rainbow. The rest of the team followed behind him. 20 humans chosen to meet the aliens first. At the end of the tunnel, the path opened into a huge, round room. The ceiling was so high Nathan couldn't see it clearly. The floor was smooth and reflected light like water, and waiting in the center were the Voidborn. Nathan had seen pictures from faraway telescope images, but nothing prepared him for seeing them in person. They were tall, taller than humans, with slim bodies that seemed to flow when they moved. Their skin changed colors slightly, with patterns moving under it like slow lightning. They had 2 arms and 2 legs like humans, but their fingers were longer, and they had 1 extra finger on each hand. Their faces were the most different. No nose, just small breathing holes and huge eyes that looked like they had stars inside them. In front of the group stood one Voidborn who was clearly important. She wore something like a dress made of flowing material that caught the light. Around her head was a circle of small floating lights like a crown that didn't touch her. "That must be Queen Solaris," whispered Dr. Williams. Nathan stepped forward, his heart beating fast. He had practiced this moment many times. He would say the greeting in their language, make the respectful hand gesture, and then offer the gift from Earth, a small crystal container of water from all Earth's oceans mixed together, a symbol of their planet's life. He started the greeting, making the clicking and humming sounds of the Voidborn language. The aliens seemed surprised, their skin flashing with quick patterns of light. The Queen stepped closer, her star-filled eyes fixed on Nathan. He finished the greeting and made the hand gesture they had seen in the alien messages. Right hand open, left hand crossed over it, then both hands extended forward. Queen Solaris made a sound like gentle bells. She reached out and took the crystal container from Nathan. She opened it and, to everyone's surprise, drank a small sip of the water. Then she offered it back to Nathan. Nathan looked at Captain Reeves, who nodded slightly. This wasn't in their briefing, but refusing might be rude. He took the container and drank a small sip too. The water tasted normal, maybe a bit sweet. Queen Solaris then made the same hand gesture Nathan had made, but added something new. She touched her forehead and then pointed to Nathan's forehead. Not knowing what else to do, Nathan copied her, touching his forehead and pointing to hers. Suddenly, the room filled with flashing lights from the skin of all the Voidborn. Some made high sounds, others low rumbling noises. The Queen's eyes seemed to glow brighter, and the floating crown around her head spun faster. "What's happening?" asked Captain Reeves, her hand moving toward her weapon. One of the Voidborn stepped forward. Unlike the others, this one wore what looked like armor made of the same crystal as the ship. When it spoke, a mechanical voice translated into English. "The sacred union is complete," said the translator. "Queen Solaris has accepted the marriage proposal of the Earth speaker. By the ancient laws of the Voidborn Dominion, they are now joined as rulers." "The what?" Nathan gasped, his face going pale. Captain Reeves pushed forward. There must be a mistake. He wasn't proposing marriage. The armored Voidborn's skin flashed red patterns. The ritual was clear. The shared water, the sacred gestures, the forehead blessing. These are the components of the royal marriage ceremony. It is done. Queen Solaris stepped closer to Nathan. Up close, he could see that her skin wasn't just changing colors. Tiny patterns like star maps moved across it. She reached out one long-fingered hand and touched his cheek gently. Through the translator, her musical voice said, "The stars have chosen you, Nathan Harris of Earth. Our union will change both our worlds forever." Nathan stood frozen, his mind racing. He had come to help make peace between humans and aliens. Instead, he had accidentally married their queen. Behind him, he heard Dr. Williams whisper, "Oh my God." And Captain Reeves was already talking rapidly into her communicator, probably telling Earth about the disaster. But was it a disaster? Looking into Queen Solaris's star-filled eyes, Nathan felt something strange. Not fear anymore, but wonder. Whatever happened next, his life would never be the same. In the background, a group of older-looking Voidborn were talking quickly among themselves. Their skin patterns were sharp and fast, showing they were upset. The Council of Elders, Nathan guessed. They didn't look happy about their queen marrying a human. "The queen must present her new consort to the people," announced the translator. "The ceremony will begin soon." As Nathan was led away by Queen Solaris and her guards, he looked back at the human team. Captain Reeves looked worried. Dr. Williams looked fascinated, and the others just looked shocked. Nathan tried to calm himself. He was now apparently married to the most powerful alien in this part of space. He was a diplomat with no training, a husband with no warning, and caught in the middle of something much bigger than he could understand. Queen Solaris seemed to sense his fear. She spoke again, her voice like music even through the translator. "Do not fear, Earth Speaker. What looks like an accident to you was seen in our prophecies long ago. You are where you are meant to be." Nathan wasn't so sure about that. But as they walked deeper into the crystal ship, with its living walls and lights that followed them, he knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning of a very strange journey. Nathan woke up in a room unlike any he had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, gently glowing in shifting colors. The bed he lay on wasn't made of any material he knew. It felt solid but moved slightly with his body, perfectly supporting him. "Where am I?" he said out loud, not expecting an answer. "You are in the royal chambers, Earthspeaker," came a voice. A Voidborn stepped into view. This one was smaller than Queen Solaris, with skin that glowed soft blue. "I am Mira, personal assistant to the Queen. Your quarters connect to hers through that doorway." Nathan sat up quickly, memories of yesterday flooding back. The accidental proposal, the marriage ceremony, the looks of shock on the faces of the human team. "There's been a huge mistake," Nathan said. "I didn't mean to marry anyone. On Earth, the gestures I made don't mean marriage." Mira's skin flickered with patterns that Nathan guessed might be confusion or amusement. "The ceremony is binding by our oldest laws. Queen Solaris has accepted you. The Eternal Luminance has accepted you." The Eternal Luminance? This ship. It is alive in its way. It grows and changes to serve the royal family. "See how your room has formed to suit your human needs?" Nathan looked around. Despite the strange materials, the room did have furniture shaped for humans. A chair, a desk, even something like a bathroom in an attached area. "The ship grows?" he asked. "It is both grown and built. The living crystal responds to the Queen's bloodline. And now to you as well." Mira gestured to a wall, which immediately changed color and opened into a doorway. "The Queen requests your presence for morning meal." Nathan had no choice but to follow. As they walked through the corridors of the ship, he noticed how they seemed to shift slightly, opening before them and closing behind. Other Voidborn they passed stopped and made gestures of respect. Or was it curiosity? Their skin patterns flashed quickly as they whispered among themselves about the human consort. The dining area was a round room with a view of space through what looked like open walls, though Nathan could feel no difference in air or temperature. Queen Solaris sat at a crystal table, her crown of floating lights hovering just above her head. "Nathan Harris," she said, her voice musical even as it was translated by a small device on the table. "Did you rest well?" "Yes, Your Majesty," he said, not sure how to address his alien wife. The thought was still too strange. "Please, when we are not in formal settings, call me Solaris." She gestured to a seat near her. "Join me." As Nathan sat down, he noticed something about her eyes. They still looked like they contained stars, but now he could see that the patterns in them moved and changed, almost like they were showing real star systems. "Your eyes," he said before he could stop himself. They're like space itself. Solaris's skin glowed with warm colors. Yes, my people carry the void within us. It is why we are called void-born. She touched near her eye gently. What you see are real star patterns. My royal line connects to the cosmic web in ways our scientists still study. Food appeared on the table, some familiar fruits that must have been taken from Earth supplies, and some completely alien foods that glowed softly like everything else on this ship. I need to speak with my team, Nathan said. Captain Reeves must be worried. Your Earth team has been given quarters and are being treated as honored guests, Solaris assured him. But there is much you must learn first as my consort. About that, Nathan started. On Earth, marriage is a choice made after people know each other well. We can't just be married because of a misunderstood ritual. Solaris's skin darkened slightly. Among the Voidborn, especially the royal line, unions are often arranged by the Council of Elders. I have had more choice than most by accepting your proposal myself. But I didn't propose. The stars brought you to me, she said simply, as if that explained everything. Now I must teach you our ways. Your main duty as consort is to learn to communicate properly. She raised her hand, and the skin on her arm began to glow with complex patterns. Circles, lines, and dots that moved and changed. This is how we truly speak, she explained. The sounds we make are simple compared to skin speech. As my consort, you must learn to read these patterns. For the next hour, Solaris taught Nathan the basics of skin speech. Some patterns meant emotions, others were about status or relationship. It was fascinating, and despite his worry, Nathan found himself enjoying the lesson. His linguist's mind was already categorizing the patterns, finding the rules that governed this living language. In return, he taught Solaris about human expressions, smiles, frowns, raised eyebrows. She tried to mimic them with her different face, creating strange but endearing looks that made Nathan laugh. Their lesson was interrupted when the door opened and Captain Reeves entered, followed by Dr. Williams and the armored Voidborn who had translated yesterday. Harris, are you okay? Reeves asked, her hand still near her weapon as if she didn't trust the aliens. I'm fine, Captain, Nathan assured her. Queen Solaris has been hospitable. Dr. Williams was staring at the Queen with undisguised fascination. Your Majesty, I have so many questions about your biology. The way your skin communicates is remarkable. The armored Voidborn stepped forward. I am First Sentinel Arix, head of the Queen's Guard. The Council of Elders demands to see the new consort. Solaris's skin flashed with sharp patterns that even Nathan could tell meant displeasure. The Council does not demand. They request and I decide. Arix lowered his head. Of course, my Queen, they are. Concerned about the human alliance this union creates? As they should be, said Captain Reeves. Earth Command is also concerned. This changes the entire diplomatic mission. It strengthens it, Solaris said firmly. Our peoples are now bound through royal union. The strongest bond possible. Before anyone could respond, alarms sounded throughout the ship. The walls flashed red and the ship seemed to shudder. What's happening? Nathan asked. Arix's skin pulsed with urgent patterns. Attack! The Queen's chambers are being targeted! Everything happened very fast after that. Arix grabbed the Queen, pulling her toward a wall that instantly opened into a hidden passage. More guards rushed in, surrounding Nathan and the human team. Move, shouted one guard, pushing them toward the same passage. As they ran through the narrow corridor, Nathan heard explosions behind them. The living ship groaned like a wounded animal. Who's attacking? Captain Reeves demanded. Those who oppose the Union, Arix said grimly. Both Voidborn rebels and possibly humans. That's impossible, Reeves said. No human would attack during a peace mission. They reached a safe room deep in the ship. As the doors sealed behind them, Solaris turned to Nathan, her skin now pale with stress. This is why the stars brought us together, she said softly. War was coming anyway. Now we face it united. Nathan looked at the worried faces around him, alien and human alike. Whatever he had accidentally started by marrying an alien queen, it was bigger and more dangerous than he could have imagined. Dr. Williams moved next to him and whispered, I've discovered something about the Queen's people. Their royal line can do things, impossible things with quantum probability. It's why they've survived for so long. She's not just a queen, Nathan. She's a living weapon. Nathan looked at Solaris, who was now speaking rapidly with her guards, her skin flashing with commands and information. What had he gotten himself into? And more importantly, how could he help prevent a war between their peoples? As if sensing his thoughts, Solaris looked over at him. Their eyes met across the room, human eyes to star-filled alien ones. And somehow Nathan knew that whatever happened next, they would face it together. 3 months passed since the wedding accident. Nathan now lived fully on the eternal luminance. He wore clothes made of the same flowing material as the Voidborn, though cut in human style. His room had grown more comfortable as the living ship learned his needs. Most importantly, he was beginning to understand the Voidborn better. "Your skin speech is improving," said Queen Solaris as they walked through the ship's garden. This was Nathan's favorite place, a huge room filled with plants from both Earth and Voidborn worlds, growing together in beautiful patterns. "Thank you," Nathan replied. He couldn't make his skin glow like hers, of course, but he had learned to read the patterns on Voidborn skin. He could now tell when they were happy, angry, confused, or lying. "The council meeting is today," Solaris reminded him. "They still question our union," Nathan sighed. The Council of Elders, 12 ancient Voidborn who advised the Queen, had been fighting against the human alliance since day one. The attack 3 months ago had been stopped, but tensions remained high. Some Voidborn saw humans as a threat. Some humans, including military leaders back on Earth, saw the Voidborn the same way. Only the royal marriage was keeping the peace, thin as it was. "I'll be ready," Nathan promised. "Zoe is helping me prepare." Zoe Carlton had become Nathan's closest human friend on the ship. As the communications specialist for the Earth team, she understood the importance of language and culture. She had been teaching Nathan about Earth politics while he taught her about the Voidborn. Later that day, Nathan met Zoe in the human quarters of the ship. These rooms were less organic than the royal chambers, designed to feel more like Earth. "Ready for the lion's den?" Zoe asked with a smile. She was short with curly red hair and always spoke her mind. "Those elders give me the creeps with their skin all faded and their eyes all cloudy." "They're over 300 years old," Nathan reminded her. "They've seen a lot. Too much, if you ask me. They're stuck in the past." Zoe handed him a data pad. "Here's the latest report from Earth. Brigadier Foster wants details on Voidborn technology, especially their faster-than-light drives." Nathan frowned. Kira Foster, the military leader attached to the diplomatic mission, had been pushing for more and more information about Voidborn technology. It made him uncomfortable. "We're supposed to be building trust, not spying," he said. Zoe gave him a serious look. "Nathan, I need to tell you something. I've been monitoring communications between our ship and Earth. Foster isn't just curious, she's desperate. Something's happening that they're not telling us." Before Nathan could ask more, his head suddenly filled with strange images. Stars exploding, planets burning, creatures made of shadow moving through space. He gasped and fell to his knees. "Nathan!" Zoe knelt beside him. "What's wrong?" The images faded, leaving Nathan shaking. "I don't know. It felt like memories, but not mine." This had been happening more often lately. Strange dreams of stars and planets he'd never seen, feelings that weren't his own. "You need to tell the Queen," Zoe said, helping him up. Nathan nodded. He needed answers. He found Solaris in her private chamber preparing for the council meeting. When she saw his face, her skin flashed with concern. "It happened again," Nathan said without preamble. "The visions," Solaris's skin darkened. "I feared this would happen. Our marriage ceremony. It does more than join our lives. Among the Voidborn, it creates a bond of minds." "You're saying we have some kind of psychic connection?" Nathan asked, disbelieving. "Not fully. But echoes pass between us, memories, feelings." She touched his forehead gently. "You are seeing my ancestral memories. The knowledge passed down through the royal line." Nathan tried to process this. "So these visions, they're real? Things that happened to your ancestors?" "Yes. And things that will happen again if we cannot prevent it." Solaris's skin showed patterns Nathan had never seen before. Deep fear. "This is why we finally contacted Earth after centuries of watching. We are running out of time." "Time before what?" "Before they find us again. The Void Harvesters. An enemy my people have fled for millennia." Nathan felt cold. "Who are they?" "Death itself. They consume worlds, civilizations. They hibernate for thousands of years, then wake hungry." Her star-filled eyes seemed to look into distant space. "They have awakened and they follow us, and Earth lies directly in their path. Nathan sat heavily on a chair that the ship formed beneath him. Why didn't you tell us this from the beginning? This changes everything. Would your people have believed us? Or would they have thought it a trick to gain Earth's resources? Solaris asked. The council wanted to wait to build trust first. Before Nathan could respond, the door opened and Zoe rushed in. Sorry to interrupt, Your Majesty, but Nathan needs to see this. She held out her data pad. I've been decoding encrypted messages from Earth. They already know about the harvesters. They've known for years. What? Nathan took the pad. On it were decoded messages between Brigadier Foster and Earth Command, discussing the approaching threat and harvester scout ships. The diplomatic mission was never about peace, Zoe said bitterly. It was about getting void-born technology to fight the harvesters. Nathan looked up at Solaris. Did you know? I suspected Earth might have detected them, she admitted. Your deep space arrays are more advanced than your people admit. The three of them stood in silence, the weight of these revelations heavy in the air. Two civilizations, both hiding the same secret from each other, both hoping for help without admitting they needed it. We need to tell everyone the truth, Nathan finally said. Both sides. No more secrets. Solaris's skin showed doubt. The Council will resist. They believe humans cannot be trusted with our greatest technologies. And Earth's military thinks the same about you, Nathan countered. But we don't have time for these games. Not if the harvesters are coming. A bell-like sound rang through the ship. The call to the council meeting. Come with me, Solaris said suddenly. Not to the council chamber. There is something else I must show you first. She led Nathan and Zoe deep into the ship, to areas Nathan had never seen. The walls here were older, the crystal patterns more complex. Finally, they reached a door that glowed with soft blue light. This is the ancestral chamber, Solaris explained, where the echoes of past rulers are preserved. Their memories, their wisdom. The door opened to reveal a circular room. In the center floated what looked like a miniature galaxy, swirling stars and cosmic dust contained in a sphere of energy. The collective consciousness of my ancestors, Solaris said. And now, I will show you the truth about our marriage. She stepped into the swirling lights, pulling Nathan with her. Immediately, his mind filled with clear visions. Not fragments like before, but complete memories. He saw Solaris watching recordings of the first human transmissions to space. He saw her studying reports about Earth, focusing especially on the linguists working to decode void-born language. He saw her looking at pictures of Nathan years ago, when he first joined the Space Research Center. You knew who I was, Nathan gasped as the vision ended. Before we ever met? Yes, Solaris admitted. Our prophets spoke of joining with the speaking species that walks between stars. Some believe humanity is this species. I was drawn to you specifically, Nathan Harris. Your mind, your ability to understand languages others cannot. When you made the gestures that could be interpreted as a proposal, I chose to accept. Nathan stepped back, stunned. So our marriage wasn't an accident at all. You planned it. Not exactly planned, she said, her skin showing complex emotions. But I did not stop it when I could have. I felt it was meant to be. Zoe, who had been silent, suddenly spoke up. This changes things, doesn't it? If your marriage was partly intentional, then the alliance it created is legitimate. More than legitimate, Solaris said. It may be our only hope against what's coming. As they left the ancestral chamber, Nathan's mind raced. He had thought he was a victim of cultural misunderstanding, an accidental husband. Now he learned he might be part of something much bigger, a prophecy, an alliance against a cosmic threat, a deliberate choice by an alien queen. The council is waiting, Solaris reminded them. What shall we tell them? Nathan took a deep breath. The truth, all of it. And then we prepare for war. They're here, Captain Reeves said, her face grim as she pointed to the main screen in the war room. Harvester scout ships at the edge of the solar system. Nathan felt his heart sink. The warning had come sooner than anyone expected. After the truth about the harvesters had been revealed to both the Council of Elders and Earth's leaders, a fragile alliance had formed. Human and void-born ships now patrolled space together, preparing for the enemy they all feared. How many? Asked First Sentinel Eric's, his armor gleaming under the lights. 5 scout ships, Reeves replied. Small but faster than anything we have. Earth Command has ordered all civilian ships to return to planetary orbit. Queen Solaris entered the war room, her normally flowing gown replaced by something closer to battle armor. It still caught the light like all void-born materials but looked stronger, more protective. Her crown of light spun faster than usual, showing her stress. "What information do we have on their capabilities?" she asked. Dr. Maya Williams stepped forward. For the past weeks, she had been working with void-born scientists, combining their knowledge of the harvesters with Earth's research. "They're not like anything we've seen before," she explained, bringing up images on the screen, part biological, part mechanical. "They consume both organic and technological materials to replicate themselves. The scout ships are relatively small, but our calculations suggest the main harvester ships could be as large as small moons." "Can we stop them?" Nathan asked the question everyone was thinking. Eric's skin flashed with determination. "The Voidborn have been fleeing them for generations. This time we stand and fight." "With all due respect," said Brigadier Foster, who had just arrived from Earth, "your people's strategy of running hasn't worked out well. The harvesters kept finding you. Our model suggests a more aggressive approach." Tension filled the room. Despite the alliance, trust between humans and Voidborn remained thin. Foster had been pushing for access to Voidborn quantum weapons, while the Elders refused to share their most powerful technologies. "We need to work together," Nathan said, stepping between them. "The scouts will be in striking range in 3 days. We need a plan everyone agrees on." For hours, they argued strategy. Foster wanted to attack the scouts immediately with Earth's nuclear weapons. Eric's argued for using the Voidborn's energy weapons at long range. The debate grew heated, with skin speech flashing angrily among the Voidborn and human voices rising. Finally, Solaris raised her hand, and the room fell silent. "Nathan is right," she said. "Division will destroy us before the harvesters can. I propose a joint fleet. Voidborn ships with human weapons. A combined attack." Slowly, grudgingly, both sides agreed. Over the next 3 days, engineers from both species worked frantically to integrate their technologies. Nathan found himself in the middle, translating not just language but intentions and ideas between the two groups. On the night before the battle, Nathan stood at the viewing window of his chamber looking out at the stars. The past months had changed him in ways he was still discovering. He understood the Voidborn better now, could read their skin speech as clearly as human faces, and his connection to Solaris had grown stronger. Sometimes he could sense her feelings even when they were apart. The door opened and Solaris entered. Without her crown or formal attire, she looked different, still alien with her opalescent skin and star-filled eyes, but somehow more real, more person than queen. "Troubled thoughts?" she asked, coming to stand beside him. "Just wondering how we got here," Nathan replied. "A few months ago I was just a linguist with bad social skills. Now I'm married to an alien queen and facing space monsters." Solaris's skin glowed with what Nathan now recognized as affection. "You were never just anything, Nathan Harris. The stars saw in you what you couldn't see in yourself. And what's that? A bridge. Someone who can stand between worlds and help them understand each other." She touched his hand gently. "Whatever happens tomorrow, know that our union has already changed history. Humans and Voidborn fighting together instead of fearing each other." Nathan felt a warmth in his chest that surprised him. When had his feelings for Solaris changed? When had this arranged marriage, this diplomatic accident, become something he valued? "We should rest," Solaris said, turning to leave. "Tomorrow will test us all." The next day, the joint fleet moved into position. From the command center of the Eternal Luminance, Nathan watched as human and Voidborn ships formed a defensive line. The Harvester scouts had entered the inner solar system, moving faster than predicted. "They're scanning us," reported Zoe from her communication station, "trying to analyze our defenses." "Let them look," said Captain Reeves. "Our real strength is in our coordination. The first attack came suddenly. The Harvester ships didn't use weapons as humans understood them. Instead, they fired beams of energy that seemed to eat through matter, dissolving ship hulls and shields alike. "Evasive maneuvers," shouted Eric's, his skin flashing emergency patterns. The battle quickly turned chaotic. Human ships fired missiles that the Harvesters dodged with impossible speed. Voidborn energy weapons scored hits but didn't seem to do lasting damage. The enemy was learning, adapting with each exchange. "They're targeting the flagship," Zoe called out as alarms blared. "The Eternal Luminance is their primary target?" A massive impact shook the ship. Nathan was thrown to the floor, alarms blaring around him. When he looked up, he saw part of the command center wall had been breached. Emergency shields had activated, but the ship was hurt. And then something strange happened. As Nathan struggled to his feet, he felt a surge of energy unlike anything he'd experienced before. His vision filled with dancing lights, and he could suddenly see patterns of probability, like glowing lines showing possible futures branching out from this moment. Across the room, Solaris stood with her arms raised, her skin blazing with light. The same patterns Nathan could see were flowing around her. "Nathan," she called, her voice strained. "I need you. Our connection, it's the key." Without understanding how, Nathan knew what to do. He moved to her side, took her hands in his. Immediately, the energy patterns between them grew stronger, connecting, amplifying. "What's happening?" he heard Brigadier Foster shout from somewhere far away. "The quantum ability," Dr. Williams answered, her voice filled with awe. "They're accessing it together." Nathan couldn't focus on their words. His mind was filled with the cosmic energy flowing through Solaris into him, and back again in a loop. Together they were reaching out, touching the fabric of probability itself. The harvester ships appeared clearly in his mind's eye. He could see their weaknesses now, the points where their biological and mechanical parts connected. With Solaris guiding him, Nathan pushed the energy outward, creating a shield of altered quantum states around the eternal luminance. When the next harvester attack came, it hit the shield and scattered, the energy dissipating harmlessly. "It's working," someone shouted. Nathan pushed harder, extending the shield to cover more of the fleet. But the effort was enormous. His body felt like it was burning from the inside, and he could feel Solaris struggling too. "We can't hold this forever," she gasped. "We don't need to," Nathan replied, an idea forming. "We just need to change the odds." Together they focused the quantum energy not just as a shield but as a weapon. They sent it out in a wave that altered probability around the harvester ships, making it infinitely more likely that their systems would fail, that their biological components would reject their mechanical parts. One by one, the harvester scouts began to drift, their deadly energy weapons flickering and dying. The effort was too much. Nathan felt himself falling, darkness closing in around him. The last thing he heard was Solaris calling his name, and then nothing. He woke days later in the medical bay. Zoe was sitting beside his bed and jumped up when she saw him open his eyes. "He's awake," she called out, and soon the room filled with people, human and voidborn. "What happened?" Nathan asked, his voice rough. "You won the battle," Captain Reeves said simply. "Whatever you and the Queen did, it worked. The harvester scouts were disabled. We destroyed 3 and captured 2 for study. Where is Solaris?" Nathan tried to sit up but found he was too weak. The others exchanged looks. "The Queen is recovering," Eric said finally. "The energy you channeled affected her deeply. But there is more. The healers discovered something during her treatment." Dr. Williams stepped forward, her face showing both scientific fascination and personal concern. "Nathan, the Queen is carrying a child." "Your child? A hybrid that should be biologically impossible." Nathan stared at her in shock. "That's not possible." "We thought the same," Williams said. "But the quantum energy you both channeled, it seems to have altered reality on a fundamental level. The child is developing rapidly, showing both human and voidborn characteristics. The elders believe it is the fulfillment of the prophecy," Eric's added, his skin showing complex emotions. "A new being that will unite our peoples." Nathan closed his eyes, overwhelmed. An accidental marriage had led to an impossible child, and somewhere out in space the main harvester fleet was still coming. "I need to see her," he said. "Rest first," Zoe urged. "The battle is won, but the war is just beginning. And like it or not, you're now at the center of it all." The main harvester fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system 6 weeks after the scout ships were defeated. In those 6 weeks, everything changed. Nathan stood on the bridge of the eternal luminance looking at the tactical display. The harvester ships were huge, just as Dr. Williams had predicted, some as large as small moons. They moved in perfect formation, a swarm of death heading toward Earth. "All ships report ready," said Captain Reeves, who now commanded the joint human voidborn fleet. The alliance had grown stronger after the first battle. "With more sharing of technology and strategy. The quantum weapons are online," reported Eric's. The voidborn had finally shared their most advanced technology, teaching humans how to build weapons that could alter probability itself. Nathan nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He turned to look at Queen Solaris, who sat in her command chair. Her body had changed dramatically in the past weeks. The pregnancy that should have taken years by Voidborn standards and 9 months by human ones was progressing at an alarming rate. Her abdomen was already swollen with the growing child, and her skin glowed with new patterns that matched the quantum energy she and Nathan had channeled during the battle. "Are you sure you should be here?" Nathan asked quietly. "The healer said you should rest." Solaris's star-filled eyes met his. "My place is with my people." "With our people," she corrected herself, including the humans in her statement. "And our child must be part of this. The quantum energy flows through all three of us now." Nathan placed his hand gently on her shoulder. Their relationship had deepened in ways he never expected. What began as an accidental marriage had become something real, a partnership, a shared purpose, and now a family. Though the child was developing in ways no one fully understood, Nathan already felt connected to it through the same quantum bond he shared with Solaris. "Enemy ships entering attack range," called out Zoe from her station. "They're deploying smaller vessels." "All ships battle formation," ordered Reeves. "Remember your training. These aren't the scouts. They'll be stronger, smarter." The first wave of Harvester attacks was devastating. Despite all their preparation, the joint fleet lost 12 ships in the first hour. The Harvesters adapted quickly to the quantum weapons, shifting their own probability fields to counter them. In the command center, Nathan worked with Solaris to coordinate the quantum attacks. Together, they could see patterns others couldn't: the flow of probability, the weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. But it wasn't enough. "We're losing too many ships," Eric's reported grimly. "At this rate, they'll break through to Earth within hours." Brigadier Foster, now commanding Earth's defense satellites, appeared on the communication screen. "We're preparing the planet's last defenses, but we can't stop them all. We need a new strategy." Nathan looked at Solaris, and in that moment they shared the same thought through their quantum bond. "There might be a way," Nathan said slowly, "but it's risky." Dr. Williams, who had been monitoring Solaris's condition, shook her head. "If you're thinking what I think you are, it could kill both of you and the child." "What choice do we have?" Solaris asked. "If we do nothing, billions die." The plan was desperate. Nathan and Solaris would use their quantum bond, amplified by the energy of their developing child, to create a massive probability collapse, essentially tearing a hole in space-time itself. The resulting quantum singularity might destroy the Harvester fleet, but the energy required would be enormous. "We'll need to be closer," Solaris said. "Take the Eternal Luminance into the heart of their fleet." Captain Reeves objected, but was overruled. As the flagship moved forward, breaking through the Harvester lines with the help of covering fire from the rest of the fleet, Nathan and Solaris prepared in the ship's core chamber. Here, surrounded by the living crystal that powered the vessel, their quantum abilities would be strongest. Solaris lay on a specially prepared platform, her swollen abdomen glowing visibly now as the child within responded to the energy around it. Nathan took his place beside her, taking her hands in his. Dr. Williams and a Voidborn healer stood nearby, monitoring their life signs. "If this doesn't work," Nathan said quietly to Solaris, "I want you to know that marrying you was the best accident that ever happened to me." Solaris's skin glowed with warm colors. "The stars don't believe in accidents, Nathan Harris. Only destinies," they began. The quantum energy flowed between them, stronger than ever before. Nathan could feel the child too now, a third consciousness touching his mind, not fully formed but powerful. A perfect blend of human and Voidborn. Together, the three of them reached out, touching the fabric of reality around the ship. Nathan could see the probability lines of thousands of possible futures, and with Solaris guiding him, began to pull them together, creating impossible contradictions in the quantum field. The ship shuddered as reality itself began to warp around them. Through the command center's viewers, the crew watched in awe as space seemed to fold and twist. "It's working," whispered Zoe, watching the sensors. "The quantum readings are off the charts." The Harvesters sensed the danger too late. As they turned their weapons on the Eternal Luminance, the probability collapse reached critical mass. A hole opened in the center of their fleet. Not a black hole as humans understood it, but a quantum singularity where probability itself ceased to function. Harvester ships were pulled in, unable to escape as the laws of physics broke down around them. The singularity grew, consuming more and more of the enemy fleet. On the eternal luminance, systems were failing as the quantum energies surged out of control. "We need to get out of here," shouted Captain Reeves. "The singularity is growing too fast." But in the core chamber, Nathan and Solaris couldn't stop. The energy flowing through them had taken on a life of its own, guided partly by the developing consciousness of their child. Nathan felt his body starting to fail, the human flesh unable to contain the cosmic forces he was channeling. "Nathan!" Solaris gasped, her skin flickering weakly. "The child, it's coming." In the midst of battle, surrounded by the death of stars and the birth of a singularity, their impossible child decided it was time to enter the universe. What happened next, no one could fully explain later. As Solaris began to give birth, the quantum energies peaked. The singularity stabilized suddenly, containing itself to the area occupied by the Harvester fleet. The eternal luminance, damaged but intact, was thrown clear by a wave of probability, along with the remaining human and voidborn ships. And in the core chamber, as reality settled back into something approaching normal, a child was born. A girl with human features but skin that glowed softly with voidborn patterns. Her eyes, when she opened them, contained not stars like her mother's but galaxies, swirling patterns of light that seemed to hold entire universes. "Aurora," Solaris whispered, naming the child in a human language. Light after darkness, the battle was over. The singularity had consumed most of the Harvester fleet, and the few ships that escaped were being hunted down by the remaining Allied forces. But the cost had been high. Nearly half the fleet was destroyed or damaged beyond repair. The eternal luminance itself, though still functioning, would never travel faster than light again. And there was another problem. The singularity had done more than destroy the enemy. It had torn a hole in space that separated them from both Earth and the voidborn homeworlds. They were stranded in an uncharted region of space with no way to contact either civilization. 1 month later, Nathan stood on a hill overlooking a valley on a new world. Below, the survivors, human and voidborn, were building a settlement. They had found this habitable planet by chance, or perhaps by destiny, as Solaris would say, and named it Convergence. "It's growing quickly," said Solaris, who stood beside him. She had recovered from the birth, though her connection to the quantum energies had permanently changed her. Her crown of lights no longer floated above her head but had become part of her, a circle of energy that flowed through her very being. In her arms, she held Aurora, who grew as rapidly as she had in the womb. Though only a month old, she already looked like a human child of 1 year, and displayed both human emotions and voidborn skin speech. "Do you think we'll ever find a way back?" Nathan asked, looking up at the unfamiliar stars. "Perhaps," Solaris said, "but I'm not sure we need to. Look what we're building here. Not just a colony, but a truly joined civilization. No more us and them, just we." Nathan nodded. Below, human engineers worked alongside voidborn builders, creating structures that combined the technology of both worlds. Children ran between them, the few human and voidborn children who had been on the ships during the battle, already playing together without the prejudices of their parents. "When I accidentally married you," Nathan said with a smile, "I never imagined it would lead to this." "The universe requires accidents to achieve its most perfect designs," Solaris replied, her skin glowing with affection. Aurora reached up between them, her tiny fingers glimmering with quantum possibility. Where she would lead them, what she would become, no one could predict. But as Nathan looked at his impossible family and the merged civilization beginning to take shape below them, he felt something he hadn't expected. Hope.